Welcome to San Francisco, where it's a beautiful Bay Area day for baseball. In this afternoon encounter, the Reds will take on the Giants in the final of their three-game set, trying to win their fourth consecutive series. The Reds against the Giants on Fox Sports Ohio. Hi, hello, and welcome to San Francisco, everyone. Along with the crafty left-hander Chris Welch, I'm George Grant. You know that the fans here love their Giants. They love garlic fries, and they love the guy who's going to pitch for the Giants today, too. That's Madison Bumgarner.
Oh, why wouldn't they? I mean, Madison Bumgarner has been their main man here, you know, through a few World Series championships. He carries his ball club just about every time he goes out there. He's won double digits again this year. Seemingly every year that he gets the ball on a full-time basis, he'll win you at least 13 games, Bumgarner, and he's on a better pace for that this year. Great earned run average. He's one of these pitchers that makes a 92-mile-an-hour fastball look like a 98-mile-an-hour fastball.
And he can turn around a 98-mile-an-hour fastball and hit it out of the ballpark. He's one of the best hitting pitchers of this era. He can swing the bat, Chris.
Well, he doesn't get cheated at all at the plate. I mean, he really prides himself on his hitting. He practices it a lot. He prides himself on being able to hit the long ball. And if you really start crunching the numbers, you see that the number of home runs that he hits percentage-wise of the balls that he puts in play are right up there with Giancarlo Stanton and Adam Duvall. It's amazing to have a pitcher, you know, hit this well. Yes, there are some pitchers that can do that, but home run hitting for pitchers, it doesn't come around very often. Madison Bumgarner is in a league of his own there.
Madison Bumgarner is the home-standing pitcher today, but for Dan Straily, it's like he's returning home. He came up in the Oakland organization, and he's pitching a day game, which he likes to do.
You know, he likes day games. There's no question about it. And Dan Straily is very capable. I mean, he's a guy that changes speeds. His control is very good. He knows what he can do and what he can't do. And I'm kind of interested to know if the Reds are being approached by any other teams out there that perhaps acquire Dan Straily, because he's the type of pitcher that, you know, that wasn't very high in cost to the Reds when they signed him off the waiver wire, but they could turn him into something maybe for the future, or if they really like him, they could keep him in the rotation here through the end of the year and into next year. So we'll see how he goes, but he's got a tough assignment here today against Madison Bumgarner.
Whole lot to talk about. The trade deadline is approaching. Dick Williams as well as Walt Jocarty on this trip. When we return, JD, Jim Day, will talk to Straily about today's assignment and this year. That's coming up next on Fox Sports Ohio.
TNT Park here in San Francisco. And hi again, everyone. I'm Jim Day. We're with Dan Straily, today's starting pitcher. Last time out, 6 innings, 2 earned runs. Have you been satisfied with the way you've been throwing the ball coming out of the break?
I think each game kind of dictates that. You know, it's one of those deals where if it keeps us in the ball game, then yes, I'm satisfied with it. But if it doesn't, then there's room for improvement for that particular game. But overall, I'd say the last 2 have been pretty good.
Could you have imagined that you would be in a Reds uniform and at this point leading the team in quality starts earlier on in this season when this season began?
I was hoping it would be leading a team in quality starts, but you know, if you would have told me at spring training that I was going to be with the Reds the whole season to this point, then I would have had to just trust that you had a magic hat you pulled that out of, because I didn't know no clue where I was going. But very grateful for the opportunity and very grateful to be here.
What do you think that you still would like to work on? Would it be getting deeper into games?
Absolutely. I mean, every time you go up there and toe the rubber, you want to go 7, 8 innings, and I'm still seeking that first career complete game. Right. And so that's something that it's not like you think you can't work on that. That's just something that in the moment is just going to happen or it's not going to happen. And so each game I go out there, that's my goal, is to go up there and throw up 9 zeros and win the ball game. Day
game for you, and getting to know you a little bit. You like throwing during the day, do you not?
I do. I enjoy it. I think part of it came with early on in my career with Oakland, where it was a lot of day games, and it kind of just taught me how to prepare for them. Right. And I've had pretty good success in it, and it's just one of those things where I just have learned how to prepare myself for the day games, and we play a lot of day games. So there's a lot of getaway games and a lot of weekend day games, and so just one of those things. It's just being more of a complete ball player by being able to stay competitive in the day games, because they are different. Right. Majority of the games are still at night, and it's just a different approach to each day.
Well, too bad the Reds don't have a red top for away games. Perhaps you could request that and get that going like you did last time out, requested the red tops on a Friday night game, which is a veteran move, by the way, that I thought. On this mound, though, you have yet to pitch here at AT&T Park. You looking forward to it?
Absolutely. I really I've enjoyed this ballpark. Came here a couple times between the Bay Series and for preseason stuff. and I haven't had a chance to pitch here regular season, but it's a great atmosphere. I've seen a handful of ball games here from this dugout, and you sold out last night on a Monday night, and so it's just one of those deals where you get excited to pitch in these atmospheres, and so I'm definitely excited to come in here as the visiting team tomorrow and try to get it done out here on the mound.
And this would be labeled a pitcher's park. You got to be looking forward to that. You can give up a ball and it might die at the track here.
Yeah, I mean it's looking out at it's a big ballpark, but you're still facing the best hitters in the world. I mean that's no matter where you're at, and they can make any ballpark look small at any given time. So you can't take the fact that the ballpark's a little bigger for granted. You got to go up there and still pitch your game, but definitely the dimensions hopefully play into your favor at times.
Appreciate the time. Good luck.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And Dan Straily hopes that Jay Bruce continues his tear. When we come back, we're talking Bruce Blass. He's already in elite company. He can join more elite company today. The story on the other side on Fox Sports Ohio. Beautiful shot of the Golden Gate Bridge. Reds and Giants closing out a 3-game set. Monday is the trade deadline, at least the non-waiver trade deadline. Will Jay Bruce be a Red beyond that? Don't know. That question remains out there, but if the Reds are shopping him, it's a good time to shop him because he is red hot. Another home run last night. Home run in 4 straight games. 5 home runs over that 4-game stretch. It's the 4th time in his career with a home run in 4 straight games, but he's never homered in 5 straight games. And if he does so today, he will join some elite company. Check out our IGS bringing the energy. And how about names like Ted Kluszewski, George Crowe, Johnny Bench, Ken Griffey Jr., Adam Dunn, Devin Mesoraco was the last one to hit a home run in 5 straight games. That coming back in 2014. So Jay Bruce, be on the lookout. Looking for a dinger in 5 straight. Coming up, Reds with a victory today can win their 4th straight series coming out of the All-Star break. They're going to have to get past Madison Bumgarner, though.
56 consecutive sellouts, the longest current sellout streak, second only to the Red Sox streak of over 700 set back a few years ago, 794. Let's check the starting lineup for Brian Price and the Reds, who come in today trying to win their 4th straight series. One of the reasons why they played better in this second half, thanks to this guy. Billy Hamilton has hit in 9 straight, got his average up to nearly 260. He's in the leadoff spot. Zach Cozart bats second. Joey Votto, 11-game hitting streak. Jay Bruce, an 8-game streak, and homers in 4 straight games. Adam Duvall with 25 dingers leads the club. Brandon Phillips, a major league high 14-game hitting streak in the 6th spot. Suarez, Barnhart, and Straily, the pitcher, facing one of the best pitchers in all of the game of baseball, Madison Bumgarner. Chris.
Well, Madison Bumgarner, the big left-hander, when he takes the ball, the Giants really feel like they're going to win the ball game. He sometimes can do it single-handedly, but he has really led this ball club. Great earned run average. He's 3rd in the league in WAR if you follow that particular stat. I mean, we're talking about including position players as well. So this guy is one of the elite baseball players in all of baseball right now.
You saw those numbers, 160 plus strikeouts and only 36 walks. Amazing. Of course, Orel Hershiser set that stage in the early days of the LA Dodgers, and most recently Clayton Kershaw has done the same thing. He was off to a brilliant start before his back injury. 1 ball, 1 strike to Billy. In tied at 3rd, the 3rd baseman Connor Gillespie. This one looped to left over his Angel Pagan, and he'll haul it in. So Hamilton's retired. There's out number 1. Let's check your 4 defensive alignment for the Giants. Pagan is in left. He's got center field speed and center field defense capability. Gregor Blanco gets his first start. Span gets the day off. Mac Williamson, a heavy swinging outfielder, will be in right. Connor Gillespie is your 3rd baseman. As usual, it's Brandon Crawford, the all-star, at short. Grant Green takes over at second. Pena, injured last night, a late scratch. Brandon Belt, your first baseman, and as usual, the former MVP Buster Posey behind the plate. Here's Cozart at 266, 15 homers and 41 knocked in. Chris mentioned tall order for the Reds. So did Jim Day in our pregame. When you face a Madison Bumgarner, the Giants always feel they have a chance to win, and the opposition knows they've got a tough row to hoe. Popped up, is there going to be room? Nope, it'll be in the seats. And when you look at the numbers for the Reds against Bumgarner, for instance, Jay Bruce is 2 for 15. Cozart is 2 for 14. Hamilton's had some success before that at bat. He was 4 for 10. Joey Votto, pretty good, 5 for 14. But you know you're in a game, Chris, where you're getting a different look. This guy does not throw your normal left-handed delivery, your normal left-handed mechanics.
Well, when you're in a game where the opposing pitcher doesn't give up many runs, you know, when you're facing a guy like Bumgarner, Kershaw, the other pitcher, first of all, Straily, a little pressure on him to keep the game score down low, but you also have to play the game smarter. You can't make outs on the base paths. You can't give the Giants extra opportunities to score. One run might be the difference in this game because Bumgarner is the type that can make one run stand up.
When we talk about getting ahead, Bumgarner has done that again. 0 balls, 2 strikes to Cozart with Votto on deck.
You know, everybody in the Reds dugout is just up against the front fence there. They're watching this game early on. They're very excited, of course, about this last game, a day game in the AT&T Park. But the guy who should be most interested of all is the left-handed pitcher that pitched last night for the Reds, Cody Reed. I mean, Reed can just watch Bumgarner and probably see himself in that maybe a few years down the line. Bumgarner was only 23 years old when he signed a multi-year contract that has made him essentially a millionaire for life and kept him a Giants through 2018. But they pitch very similar styles. They have very similar approaches to the game, and this could be a real learning day for Cody Reed.
0 balls, 2 strikes. Takes a little off. Breaking ball fouled off to the right side. For a young man now 27 years of age, making his 22nd start, born in Hickory, North Carolina, grew up in Hudson, North Carolina, about 90 miles north of Charlotte. Humble beginnings, only about 2,800 people in his hometown, but he's never lost those humble beginnings. Still just a hometown boy that's making a whole lot of money. And Cozart's hanging in there 0-2.
Well, you see what Bumgarner's doing, though. He's throwing pitches in there that you can't possibly keep fair. So it's a matter of Cozart self-defense and Bumgarner attacking him on the inside of the plate.
Giants have gone up in the strike zone against Cozart to have success against him in this series. He comes in with an 8-game hitting streak, one of 5 Reds on a streak. There's your fastball up.
You know, when Bumgarner pitches, if we get a shot from the center field camera, I can kind of illustrate it for you. Just about all of his pitches to a right-hander are going to bore right inside on him. They're going to try to go away here with a little outdoor cutter. He throws 3 pitches essentially and keeps it very simple. Fastball, cutter, and curveball. He doesn't throw him very many changeups. So he tries to keep it simple and master those 3 before he moves on and adds more to his repertoire.
2-2, and he finally gets him. Strikeout number 1 for Bumgarner. That's, for Bumgarner, a normal start for him. He's usually a guy that will strike out anywhere from 8 to 12 a ball game.
Anything you see over 91 miles an hour is going to be a fastball. Anything in the high 80s is going to be a cutter, and that's exactly what he calls that pitch right there. Some may say it resembles more of a slider with a big break, but that's his bread and butter, especially when he's behind the count.
Here's Joey in his career against Bumgarner, 5 for 14 and a home run. Votto steps in with an 11-game hitting streak. Breaking ball wide. Bumgarner, a first-round draft choice of the Giants. That was back in 2007. On the outside corner, that's Kerwin Danley, the home plate umpire. Danley's behind the plate. Andy Fletcher's your home plate umpire. Last night's crew chief, Joe West, who was behind the plates over at third. Mark Rippiger is your second base umpire. On the coaches' lines, Billy Hatcher at third for the Reds as usual. The Hatchman making a return to San Francisco. And down at first, Freddie Benavides. 2 balls, 1 strike. There's Billy. What a pleasant day for baseball. Game time temperature 70 degrees. It's been hotter than normal in the Bay Area of late. I mean, just east of here, it'll be up near 100. That's a strike. 2-2. You look at Joey's numbers. Bumgarner's always at the top of the pack among pitchers. Votto, who struggled early in the year, his numbers have continued to rise. both on-base percentage, walks, as well as average. He's now on the threshold of 280. He's at 279. This is a guy who was at 215 2 months ago. Breaking ball wide. Votto, Bruce, and Duvall, 3, 4, and 5, have given the Reds big-time power of late. The Reds homered again successfully yesterday, but a 3-run home run by Matt Cain really proved to be the difference in the game. He got him, so he strikes out 2 in the first. Votto retired. Bumgarner will take a seat. Straily will face Blanco. Sports Ohio being brought to you by Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Hey, feeling good? It's Skyline time. Baseball time here at AT&T Park. The city by the bay, so picturesque. And this is convention time. You know, it's jam-packed all around downtown San Francisco. Here's Gregor Blanco ready to start today's game in the leadoff spot for the Giants. Pagan bats second, Williamson third. Posey, Crawford, Belt, the power of the lineup at 4, 5, and 6. And you know, with Bumgarner in the lineup, that's also home run power. He's got 2 homers this year. And here's Dan Straily pitching for the Reds, Chris, at 6'5", 221, the former Bay Area pitcher for Oakland.
Well, he is, George. He's a young man also that did his college work in the Midwest when he went to Marshall and became one of those thundering herd down there in West Virginia. 18 and 19 in his major league career, wins and losses, earned run average about 4.4. But he's having a pretty good year, Straily is. Not overpowering. What he'd like to do is become more efficient with his pitches to allow him to go deeper into a game. But when you watch Straily pitch, I mean, he's a pitcher's pitcher. I mean, he doesn't have overpowering stuff. He's going to move his fastball around, mix in a slider, a curveball, a changeup, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Really an interesting guy to watch because he's perfected what he can do, and he believes a lot in what he can do.
Here's Blanco, had a rough road trip, so his manager Bruce Bochy gave him a couple of days off. Did pinch hit, just 6 for his last 43 at 140. Waves at that one high in the strike zone. There's strikeout number 1 for Straily. Blanco disposed of, and here comes Angel Pagan.
88 miles an hour can be a pretty good pitch if you spot it where you want to. And Straily just goes upstairs with it, and Blanco chases it for strike 3.
Well, 1 away. Here comes Pagan at 287, 6 homers, 34 knocked in. Pagan a home run in this series already. You know the Giants story. They've been beset with a whole host of injuries to start this second half of the season. Hunter Pence, their outstanding right fielder for Bruce Bochy, he's on the DL. Could be back as early as this next series when Washington and Dusty Baker come in. Joe Panik, the second baseman, on the DL since June. And Matt Duffy, the third baseman, on the DL since June, too. Panik and Pence are close to coming back. Duffy just began a rehab start. Those are 3 big bats out of this lineup, and it's been one of the reasons why this club has struggled. And Pagan disposed of quickly. 2 straight strikeouts for Straily, 2 away. Check your forward defensive alignment for the Reds. Cincinnati comes in 12th in the league defensively. In the outfield, Duvall, Hamilton, and Bruce per usual. Suarez, Cozart, Phillips, Votto across the infield, and Barnhart catching Straily. That's your forward defensive alignment. Reds turned 2 double plays yesterday and came close to a third. Defense has been much better of late after they stumbled the first 2 months out of the gate defensively. There's Williamson, Chris. We've seen him put on quite a display in BP this whole series.
Well, he can. I mean, he's kind of everything or nothing at all when Williamson swings the bat. 6 home runs on the year. That's impressed me about Williamson, though, really is the number of walks he takes. He's got a pretty good idea of the strike zone for a big guy really making his way through the major leagues for the first time. So he's got some potential, obviously, from a power standpoint, but also from an on-base percentage standpoint because he can be fairly patient when he gets up there.
No balls, 2 strikes. How about Straily? Well, he's matching Bumgarner. In fact, does him one better. Strikes out the side in the first inning. 1, 2, 3, all swinging. Elkin Oak, serious lawyers for serious injury. Since the All-Star break, Reds hitters 17 home runs, 3rd most in the National League. Giants pitchers have given up 24 home runs allowed. That's the most in Major League Baseball. And part of the Red story is coming to the plate right now. Jay Bruce homered in 4 straight games, 24 on the year, now 78 knocked in. Breaking ball waved at, strike number 1 to Bruce. Jay, one of those who has struggled against Bumgarner, 2 for 15, no homers in his career. 4 straight games with a homer. He's never done it in 5 straight. That's pretty good company, Chris.
I was really curious to see that today Brian Price kept with the lineup of having Votto and Bruce back to back. Earlier in the year he liked to split up the lefties. Lately he's gone those guys back to back, especially with Bruce hitting the ball well.
High in the air, right center field. Hit pretty good. Back at the edge of the warning track, though, will be Blanco, and there's your first out.
Wind not blowing nearly as hard out to center field today as it has been the last couple of nights.
This is a pitcher's park. I mean, that's one of the reasons why Johnny Cueto decided to come here as a free agent. On most nights, of course, when the air is heavy and the fog comes in, very difficult to get the ball out. But this whole series, Chris, the wind's been blowing out, and on a hot day today, you'll see how it evolves as the afternoon progresses. Right now, those flags are waving towards the bay. Here's Duvall at 247. Talk about red hot bat. 25 homers, 69 knocked in. I guess if we were playing a candlestick right now, or you played a lot, it still would be pretty nice right now. But in about an hour or so, when that wind started to whip around, things changed dramatically.
Afternoon games are very nice. I mean, the weather out here during the day is tremendous. It can get very cold at night at Candlestick, but not nearly so here in China Basin where they built this ballpark. This has been just a splendid place for a ballpark. It's rejuvenated the whole southern part of San Francisco, metro area, and it's obviously popular because they sell out every game.
4:56 and counting for the Giants. 1 ball, 1 strike. Takes a little off. Duvall swings and misses. Adam, a former Giant, came through the Giant organization where year after year he had between 15 and 25 home runs in the minor leagues, and boy, has he come to fruition for the Reds. Part of the Mike Leake deal last year, and he's been a bona fide star for the Reds with 25 homers and an all-star appearance. And we've seen in this series he's starting to get his legs back under him. You wonder how much that home run derby and the whole festivity scene of the all-star game took a little bit out of him down in San Diego.
I think it varies player by player. Some guys blame that all-star and the home run hitting contest for a lousy second half. Other guys really doesn't bother at all.
Down and in, swing and a miss. 3rd strikeout for Bumgarner.
Bumgarner's interesting to watch because he could throw harder than he does if he wanted to. He could rear back and probably fire it up there at 94, 95 every pitch, but he seems to pitch in control. Keeps his head very still, as you see. His follow through is right towards the plate. He gives you kind of a low arm angle, very much like Cody Reed. In fact, Reed is throwing probably 4 to 5 miles an hour harder than Bumgarner. And my advice to Reed would be back off a little bit, do what Bumgarner does, and save a little in the tank for when you need it.
As Brandon got a base hit his last time up to stretch his hitting streak to 14. That's now the longest current running streak in Major League Baseball. 263 overall, 6 homers and 36 knocked in for the Reds second baseman. Crawford scoops. And there's 1, 2, 3 for Bumgarner in the second. Posey will lead it off. Crawford will follow when we return. In the first, Chris, not 1, not 2, but 3 strikeouts.
Well, he did it on all different pitches. He goes high with a fastball, he goes down and away with a changeup, and he gets on a maybe way up out of the strike zone curveball. And that's Dan Straily. I mean, Dan Straily's the poster boy as to why scouts, if you're scouting a professional baseball game, leave the radar gun in the trunk of the car.
Amen. Strike 1 again. Posey check swing. Phillips will scoop and get the first out. 1 away here in the second. That'll bring up Brandon Crawford. The Reds will leave town after today's game and head to San Diego for the weekend series there. Here in San Francisco, former Reds manager, former Giants manager Dusty Baker will come to town. Washington Nationals winners 4-1 over Cleveland this afternoon. They're on their way already here to the Bay Area. So a homecoming for Dusty. You know, his wife Melissa, his son Darren will be at the ballpark. It'll be great for Dusty to see all his former friends here and so many people that have supported him. Here's Crawford in at 275. And JD, homecoming for Brian Price this week too.
Yeah, he is from just across the Golden Gate Bridge here in the Bay Area, and every time he comes here he gets to see mom and family and a bunch of friends. It's actually a very busy time, and he likes to go to his old stomping grounds. When he was a single guy, he used to live right by North Beach, and he would go to Tosca. It's a restaurant bar with old jukebox playing Sinatra, and he recommends North Beach pizza. In his words, he used the Sean Casey term. He said it's legit.
North Beach Pizza is pretty good. I'm a Tommaso's guy. Tommaso's Pizza is an outstanding one. Sitting next to Jim Riggleman down on the bench is Brian Price. His wife Judy very often comes on some of these West Coast trips as well. And of course, Brian grew up, went to the University of California, great pitcher at Berkeley. And Chris, just like all of us, you went to Riverfront Stadium with your dad Dan and watch games, and he used to go to Candlestick Park and watch the Giants.
It gives you a little extra incentive and big smile on your face when you revisit those places as a pro.
Not so much the wind, but a tricky sun sky today. But Crawford fouls out to Eugenio Suarez. 2 away, and here comes Brandon Belt. Well, we talk about how hot Jay Bruce is, but the guy at the plate has been just crunching the Reds the last 2 years. He's hit over 500 against the Reds. Brandon Belt steps in at 285, 11 homers and 49 knocked in. Made his first all-star team and then struggled big time on the road trip for the Giants right after the break, but he's got his legs back under him in this series again.
Every time we turn around, he's on base.
You're right. Ball one from Straily.
Was on with an error last night, then a base hit, and then walked 3 consecutive times. Here for a guy that couldn't find his way to first base during the recent Giants road trip, in which they went 1-7.
Has hit safely in his last 11 games against the Reds. This one looped to left. In comes Duvall. Squeezes it, and 3 up, 3 down, 6 up, 6 down for Straily. When we return, Straily will be up third. Suarez to the bat rack. August 20th, thanks to Toyota, first 25,000 fans will receive a USA Reds t-shirt. Show your USA pride when you see your Reds take on the Dodgers for only $12. Dial 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com. Here's Suarez, then Barnhart, then Straily, 7, 8, and 9 for the Reds. 2 strikeouts, 6 straight retired by Madison Bumgarner. A couple of notes for you today. Hope you stay with us a little bit later on. The Fresno Flash, Jim Maloney and his wife Lynn are going to stop by and talk a little baseball with us. Always great to see one of the Reds' greatest pitchers and a member of the Reds Hall of Fame. And of course, the Reds will leave here, head to San Diego. It'll be great to welcome back Tom Brenneman, who will join the Reds for the weekend series. Good to have Tommy back. Glad to see he's done so well recovering, and great to have him back, Chris.
It sure is, George. I'm looking forward to that. I know Tom is looking forward to that. In fact, he may already be down in San Diego waiting us. He is a guy that likes to hang out in Coronado Island. And boy, that must really be hurting for Suarez.
Second time in this series he's fouled one off his foot. This time it looked like it got him right smack dab on the top of the ankle. Oof. Brian Price out. Steve Ballman, the trainer, out as well.
You know, I'm sure that, you know, wearing those protective pads on your legs, those little mini shin guards a lot of hitters use, you know, maybe it's a bother, maybe it's distracting, maybe they feel like it slows them down, but you normally don't see those guys wear those until after they've already been hit. I would suggest a little preventative medicine up there, and maybe wear those, especially when you're facing a guy like Bumgarner, who loves to throw the ball down and in against right-handed hitters.
And the irony of this, and I mean, he may be leaving the game. I think they're going to try to. The irony of it is, it's his back leg that got this. In fact, Posey's looking at him. Buster Posey in New York the other day had a similar foul ball off his back leg. Usually you foul it off your front leg. And they immediately sent Posey to the hospital for x-rays. They thought he might have broken a bone in his foot. The foot still paining Posey. And Suarez is going to stay in. Another look. Right below the knee it got him. the right knee, the back leg. 2 balls, 1 strike. This one blooped towards second. Grant Green there. He'll haul it in. There's 1 away. Guy who used to do that. I don't know. You're right, Chris. Usually it's off the front leg. A guy that very often we saw it happen to was Matt Williams, a great third baseman here. Often he'd foul a ball off his back foot. You don't see it that often. There's Barnhart at 261, 5 homers, 25 knocked in. Everybody loves coming to San Francisco, and for Barnhart it's great because he gets to watch one of the best catchers in the game, Buster Posey, and he's got his eyes peered on him when he's not playing. 1 pitch, he grounds out, 2 away, and here comes Straily. Straily looking for his first hit. Who are the pitchers that you would come to town or go visit and be up on the top steps of the dugout to watch?
All the great ones. I mean, you know, the Nolan Ryan types, Steve Rogers you put into that category. Anybody who was at the top of his game at the time. Steve Carlton. You know, if you ever have a chance to see one of the great pitchers, I mean, you can always learn something from everybody. It's a waste of a game, a really good, great box seat if you sit in that dugout and don't pay attention to something that's going to make you better.
You mentioned how this Giants pitching staff hits as much as and as concerted as the Braves pitching staffs of Maddox, Glavine, and Smoltz, and it would always be great to be in Atlanta and watch who's ever not pitching. With Maddox could be pitching, but Glavine and Smoltz and Avery, that whole crew would be together. Kent Merker. And they'd be sitting in the dugout looking at the opposing hitters, dissecting the hitters, not just for themselves, but for a lot of the young players who are sitting around them.
I mean, it doesn't mean that they had a monopoly on that. It doesn't mean that you can't sit in the dugout with some of the other guys in there, whether it's Brandon Finnegan or Cody Reed. I mean, you can talk among yourselves as to how you think you're going to go after these guys, because if you're lucky enough to be in the big leagues, you're going to face them for a long time.
4 strikeouts for Bumgarner, 9 up, 9 down. Straley's matched him so far.
Behind him. In fact, he gives him a football-like defensive chant before every start, and it started with the first time he started in a Reds uniform.
It's really all it is, just the defense and a clap, because that guy just makes some amazing plays, and it's something that him and I actually kind of talked about my very first day here. And we just were talking about the type of player he is, and I was excited to have him behind me, and he's definitely lived up to the hype, if you will. And so he's been a lot of fun to watch, and especially it just seems like every night he's making another highlight reel play out there.
And he screams it before every game. It's actually funny to listen to. Billy gets a charge out of it, and like you guys talked about earlier in this series, he loves to come west because there's some big ballparks out here, and he gets to flash how much ground he can cover.
Hey, you're right, JD. San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego, Arizona. This one hit pretty good by Gillespie. Back is Bruce looking up. It is off the top of the wall and gone. It went over the top of the wall and gone. We'll see if the Reds might challenge, but it looked like it was over the top of the wall, and it'll be a home run for Connor Gillespie, his 4th of the year. Kerwin Danley looking into Brian Price to see if he will challenge. Take a look.
You know, watching Connor Gillespie take batting practice, the ball just sounds different off his bat. I'm really surprised he doesn't get more playing time, to be honest with you. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, he hit a home run on a changeup that he was given when the Giants came to Cincinnati and played at Great American Ballpark. He gets a breaking ball right there, and Brian Price is going to ask for a review.
Jay Bruce's home run in game 1 of this series was almost in the identical area, but a fan reached over and gloved it. Joe West went to the replay that night, and in a minute and 15 seconds later, it was ruled a home run.
It's been a bad couple of days for umpires. I mean, it seems like every time they make a call and it becomes reviewed, it gets overturned. And I'm not so sure that Joe West is very appreciative of that last night.
Well, the other side of it is Joe Torre said it so clearly when he took over this replay concept. He said our goal is to get the play right, and even before the replay started, That was a line that Joe always used. It's not whether you are right as the umpire, it's getting the play right. That's the most important thing, and hopefully that's the end result.
Well, it is, but I mean, the fact remains, George, I mean, you get your feelings hurt when you're an umpire, and you got 45,000 people here, and then how many other thousands watching at home, and if you get it wrong 3 times in a row, well, you know, you wear that as a blemish, not a badge of honor.
Home run after the replay.
Well,
so 1-0, the lead belongs to the Giants.
They get it right.
Yeah, because it's almost in the exact same spot, maybe almost the exact same seat where Bruce hit the homer. I wonder if that's a season ticket holder there, and the guy who's sitting there sat back this time, didn't reach over. This one looped into right. Here comes Jay. Bruce will glove it, and Green is retired.
You know, looking back on that game where I remembered that Gillespie to hit a home run, it was back on May the 4th, and he hit it off of Dan Straily. As I remember, it was a changeup that Gillespie hit. That was a game in which Straily ended up getting the win, holding the Giants to 3 runs over 6+ innings, and they beat Jake Peavy that night.
That was the lone hit that Gillespie had off Straily in 9 at-bats, and now he's got 2 hits in 10 at-bats, and each of them have been homers. And here's Bumgarner, 2 home runs for him on this year, and maybe the most prolific offensive pitcher of the game these days. And there was talk surrounding the home run derby, which took place in San Diego this year, maybe having a home run derby for pitchers. You know, he'd love to do it. He's got 11 in his career. I'm not sure that many pitching coaches or managers would like to see their, and you saw that list, some of the best pitchers in the game swinging the bat at the All-Star game. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Straily gets him. That's 2 away, and that's strikeout number 4 for Straily. Great watching this Giant pitching staff taking batting practice in game 1 of the series. Johnny Cueto, the former Reds pitcher, who's been as brilliant as Bumgarner on the mound, standing watching BP. He'd get up there and he'd lay down 2 extra bunts and then just slap the ball the other way, and Bumgarner hit one out of the park 1.5 miles and say, that's the way we do it. And Johnny looked at him and said, no, 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 you hit, I pitch, that's all. Smart enough to know that. Jeff Samardzija, the left side of your screen, another big swinging bat in this pitching lineup. Good snare by Phillips. They'll get the out as Blanco's retired, but big swing from Connor Gillespie. 1-0 Giants. The ball game today following the post-game show. Stay tuned for All New Reds Weekly, and then as we continue celebrating the 40th anniversary of the 76 series, make sure to stay tuned for game 3 with the Reds off tomorrow. We'll have an encore presentation of Reds Weekly at 7, followed by game 4 as the Reds swept the Yankees for their 2nd consecutive World Series title. There's Billy Hamilton, who flied out first time up, first pitch swinging, pops it into left. Out is Crawford. He'll haul it in 1 away. And what a remarkable series that was, Chris. You'll get another look at game 3 tonight, then game 4 tomorrow, and that was game 4 was. That was the Johnny Bench game. 5 runs batted in, couple of homers, and not bad pitching side either for that Reds in that 76 series.
I kind of like watching those old games. It just goes to show you the game really hasn't changed all that much. Good pitches continue to get good hitters out. Good pitching will shut down good hitting for the most part, but occasionally a guy makes a mistake and somebody like Bench runs into it and ruins a pitcher's day.
Johnny hit over 500 for the series. Gary Nolan got the win in game 4. Breaking ball down and in for a strike to Zach Cozart. Cozart went 0-2 and then fouled off 6 pitches before finally striking out in the first. And when you perform at that level on that stage, all of a sudden you reach a different level. I mean, there are Hall of Famers that made it to the World Series, those that didn't. But everybody knew Johnny Bench was the best catcher in the game, and of course Sparky always would not diminish other players, but whether it was Thurman Munson or Carlton Fisk, he always said, don't compare anybody to Johnny Bench. JB revolutionized the game. Mike Piazza alluded to that in his comments when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame this week, saying, make no mistake about it, as he turned and looked at Johnny, you're the best that has ever been behind the plate. But when you do it in the World Series, that's a different red badge of courage, huh? 1-2. Down to third, but foul. Speaking of having a great World Series, there's Billy Hatcher, one-hands that one and tosses the ball into the seats. Bench hit .533 in that series of 76. Hatch hit .750 in 1990. Nobody's ever done better than that. Popped up to the right side. Will anybody get there? Williamson will. Cozart retired, 2 away. Follow Cincinnati Reds baseball live with the MLB.com at-bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with game day, live game video, highlights, StatCast news, and a whole lot more. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone or your tablet. There's Joey. Votto became the second strikeout victim of Bumgarner in the first. Bumgarner 4 strikeouts here in the 4th inning. Swing and a miss. He's got the full package, doesn't he? Breaking balls away, fastballs up, change-ups. There's a roller up the middle, backhanded. The off-balance throw will not be in time, and Votto stretched his hitting streak to 12 straight.
Well, it's amazing what you can look up on the internet, and I know the Reds have the same capability as every other team. You find out when Madison Bumgarner is ahead in the count, he really uses a lot of curveballs. And Joey Votto knows that. He's one of the most prepared players you're ever going to be around, and he kind of waited for that curveball, bounced it up the middle against that shift where there nobody was, and he's able to leg out an infield hit. One way or another, recently and probably throughout the end of the year, Votto is going to be on base a whole lot more than he was back in April and May.
He's walked in 9 straight. He's hit in 12 straight now. And the Reds have their first base runner for Jay Bruce, who flied to center first time up.
Doesn't necessarily make it any easier in the batter's box against Bumgarner, but at least you have an idea or a better game plan when, you know, he dramatically increases the use of that curveball when ahead in the count.
1 strike to Jay. This hit pretty good to right, but Williamson has it measured. He'll haul it in at the warning track. Reds get their first hit. When we return, Pagan to the bat rack. Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio is being brought to you today by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. And by Cincinnati Children's, changing the outcome together. It'll be great to have Tom Brenneman back in the booth this weekend for the San Diego series, and he can add his usual tagline, hoping that everyone at Cincinnati Children's has a great day today and even a better day tomorrow. Here's Pagan, struck out first time up. Straily struck out the side in the first, picked up his 4th strikeout in the 3rd. The only dent to his armor, a home run by Connor Gillespie. Gillespie's 4th of the year to lead off the 3rd. You can't minimize, Chris, the effect that losing a Hunter Pence and losing a Duffy in the lineup for the Giants, as well as losing Joe Panik, has had for Bruce Bochy. I mean, you take those bats out of the lineup, And not only the bat, but Hunter Pence, the spiritual leader of this club. He and Pagan are the two guys that really provide energy to this club.
Well, they feel like they've been very fortunate. I mean, to still have a lead here in the National League West, given the fact that they've been playing essentially a lineup that has had 4 rookies in it. Guys called up from AAA, you're not sure what you're going to get out of it. But they still lead the Dodgers, at least the game time, by 2.5.
Cozart with Suarez almost stepping in front of him. Cozart still makes the play, and there's one away. Pagan retired. The Giants had a 6-game lead 11 days ago. That lead is down to 2.5. Prior to the All-Star break, they had the best record in the National League, but after a 1-7 road trip, the Cubs have taken that mantle away from them.
Well, you know, to put it in a different perspective, the last time Madison Bumgarner has given up a run at AT&T Park, the Giants had a 7-game lead. So that has been whittled away, and they're just kind of clawing and hanging on right now. You just don't know how long they're going to be able to do that. That's why a lot of people who follow this club, you know, are wondering whether they're going to try to make a move or two in the trade market, or will they just wait for those guys who are injured to come back off the disabled list?
They figure if they get all of them back offensively, they'll be okay, and they are interested in a left-handed bat. There was interested in Jay Bruce at one point. That has waned of late, but they would like to get 1 or 2 in the bullpen and maybe another starter. And really, you know, once the Cubs make the move that they made, they raise the bar for everybody else in the National League, not just to win the division, as Bruce Bochy's trying to do, and he's already won 3 World Series, 2010, 2012, 2014, but how do you match up in the postseason?
What's that?
Yeah, I know. It'd be nice to get back there again, wouldn't it? And what they've done here under Brian Sabean in 24 years is develop, evolve, and maintain a culture of winning and a culture of everybody working together with all oars going the same way. Cozart. Williamson retired, 2 away. And here comes Posey, who bounced out first time up. Everybody leads in different ways. Hunter Pence leads with emotion. Reds fans will remember his impassioned speech before the first game in Cincinnati when the Giants came back to beat the Reds 3 straight and eliminate them from the postseason. This guy leads just by his presence, quiet demeanor, but great competitor, Buster Posey. Barnhart battling, and it clips just outside the fence. He did get his glove on it, but it was on the other side of the fence. Barnhart was peering right up into the sun on this day game.
I think by the way that he's smiling, he thought he was going to catch that ball.
He almost did, but the fence was in between. If he squeezed it outside the fence, would it be an out?
That's a good question. I suppose it would be if you can take the ball somehow out of your glove.
But how do you get your hand over the top?
That's the question.
It's kind of like waiting for a putt to drop, right? How long do you wait? No balls, 2 strikes to Posey. High fly ball left center. Hamilton has it measured, and he'll haul it in. 1-2-3 for Straily. Only run he's given up, the homer by Gillespie. Duvall up when we return. Numbers for the day. Today, Quicken Loans numbers. NL strikeout leader since 2010, the first year the Giants won the World Series. Clayton Kershaw, 1,606 strikeouts in 1,453 innings and 207 starts. And updated through today, this Giant left-hander, 1,285 strikeouts in 201 starts. Pretty good company to be in. Here's Duvall, struck out first time up. Now, Chris, when you played and you were in the starting rotation, you charted the day before you pitched. I mean, that's long gone by the wayside. Was there a value to that in those days?
I didn't think so, because most every pitcher has a different style. If I charted a guy that was a power pitcher, I tried not to look at what I was writing down, because I didn't want to remember what he was doing to get guys out. I needed to go about it my own way. I really felt that I was better off watching the hitter. And what you watch when you're scouting a hitter from the dugout, you watch where his feet are, where he sets up, where he strides. I mean, if he's a guy like Duvall, he can cover the whole plate because he strides either square or towards the plate. That's a pretty good catch.
Diving catch by Williamson under the outstretched effort of Grant Green. Nice play by Williamson.
Got to get a good jump on this ball, and he does. He comes in very hard, Williamson does. He's made a couple of nice grabs already, and he does it there wondering if maybe he's going to run into the second baseman.
Great catch and great ability to avoid each other. One away here in the fifth. Here comes Phillips, who grounded out first time up. When I talked to Dave Righetti the other day, and now Rags has had a chance to spend half a season with Johnny Cueto, I said, what's impressed you the most about Johnny Cueto? And he said, you know, he's a throwback. He doesn't speak a lot, and we know, Chris, he could speak English. He just doesn't do it a lot. He'll converse with you, but most of the time he'll, talk through an interpreter to the media most of the time. He said there's a liner to center for Brandon Phillips. He'll stretch his hitting streak to a National League leading 15-game hitting streak now, and the Reds have their second base runner. And he said what he does is, like Greg Maddux, he reads the hitters. And very often, I mean, Buster Posey runs this pitching staff the way he calls games, but very often Cueto will run his own game with hand signals from the mound that will change as he goes into his windup depending on what he saw on the pitch before.
Funny though, George, when you ask a guy like that a question, you get a good, serious, thoughtful answer. When I asked Dave Righetti the same question, what has impressed you most about Johnny Cueto, he said he's a good poker player.
Yeah, that's right.
I bring out the best in him, I guess.
Well,
he's an old roommate of mine.
It's about your history. How many times did you play poker on the bed, right? Coming up in the Yankee organization. This one ripped to left by Suarez, going back, looking up, off the glove of Pagan. Rounding second, going to third will be Phillips, and cruising into second will be Suarez. Well, let's see if this might turn this one around. Last night, a ball that bounced off the glove of Duvall in left and was credited with a double started the difficulty that Reed had. Let's see if this might turn things around for the Reds.
Ball's hit very hard, but that's no excuse for Pagan not to be able to catch it. But what a break now for the Reds. But here's the situation. One out, runner at second and third, the number 8 hitter up, and the pitcher coming up next. So I got to figure in this at bat sometime you're probably going to see a suicide squeeze attempt. Reds got to figure out a way to get a run on the board.
Barnhart's average up to 261 now. Phillips off third, Suarez off second. Barnhart grounded out first time up at the plate. Billy Hatcher rolling through his signs. Brian Price peering out at Hatcher. Hatcher delivers the sign to both Phillips and to the runner at second. Fouled off to the left side. 1 ball, 1 strike. Steps out, looks again at Hatcher.
Now he looks at Hatcher, and then Hatcher goes over to Brandon Phillips at third base. Maybe says something to him, maybe doesn't.
Ball and a strike.
They're playing the third baseman fairly close to the bag, so Phillips can't get that big of a breakdown there.
And with a switch hitting swinger from the right side, Belt is way off the bag over at first. This one sliced into right. Phillips is tagging. Good arm in right field from Williamson. Here comes Phillips. Here comes the throw. It will be wide. Sacrifice fly. Barnhart gets the job done. Boy, he'll get a greeting in the Reds dugout. Good job by Barnhart. His 26th run batted in. Phillips scores, and the Reds, thanks to the error, have even this one up at 1 apiece. And good job by Suarez too. He tagged at second and went to third.
Well, Barnhart really needed to get that run in somehow. And he was able to do that. And I'll tell you what, Tucker Barnhart is just kind of sliding right into that everyday catching role, handling it behind the plate, but doing a really good job offensively too.
So here's Straily now. The pressure off, but the Reds would love to get the go-ahead run in. Straily struck out first time up.
I would say he's due. I know he's 0 for. What is he 0 for anyway?
0 for the season.
He's really due.
Hey, Matt Cain yesterday had maybe his worst BP of the year. He swung and missed 3 times during BP when we watched him. And then what did he do? He ended up with a 3-run home run that really proved to be the turning point in the game for the Giants yesterday. Every once in a while, every squirrel gets a nut, right? Breaking ball down and in.
Well, Straily now 0 for 27 this year. He has walked a couple of times, and he picked up a run batted in, presumably on a bases-loaded walk. I think he's got a bunch of sacrifice hits.
Yes, he has, and that's what he's worked on. 2 balls, 1 strike. 2-2.
I'll tell you, the approach now for Straily should change completely. He ought to choke up about half as much more than Joey Votto does. Get right on top of the plate. Just try to knock the ball into the outfield somewhere. Just bloop it in there. Get rid of that big swing and that big setup.
2-2, nub foul to the left side. Single by Phillips, stretching his hitting streak to 15. The error in left by Pagan and the sacrifice fly by Barnhart. And this game is tied at 1. Billy Hamilton on deck. Breaking ball locks him up. That's a strikeout for Bumgarner, his 5th. But the Reds even it up with the sacrifice from Barnhart. Phillips scores.
Well, congratulations to Scott Schebler, AAA Louisville last night. Hit for the cycle. First cycle by a bat player since 2007. Look at his last 5 games, 636 clip, and now hitting .315 on the season. He had a terrific spring training when they were throwing him a heavy dose of fastballs. Made the big club. Catching up with that major league curveball was a problem. Perhaps he solved that. If the Reds need a bat, Scott Schebler is going to be your candidate. On fire.
Sometimes you just need a break, huh, Chris? He was struggling when he was here, but boy, he's been red hot down there.
He really has. And I would imagine that we're going to be seeing him fairly soon. It's just not what he's done recently. I mean, he's been on that kind of a roll for quite a while. After showing really not a whole lot his first time through, maybe just adjusting a little bit. Of course, there's got to be a room for him to play. And if indeed the Reds make a deal for Jay Bruce, it would presumably be that left-handed hitter to take his place.
There's the shortstop, Brandon Crawford. Popped up in foul territory first time up. Good bunt. But a better play by Barnhart. 1 away. You alluded to it, Chris, with David Mesoraco out for basically the last 2 years. First hip surgery, then shoulder surgery, now again another hip surgery. He should be healthy for next year. But Barnhart really is taking control of this pitching staff. He's grown with the staff, especially with all the young pitchers that he's had to deal with, and he's gained the respect. And you know, I mean, you pitched to some pretty good catchers. You also pitched to some guys that you felt never had a clue of what they were doing behind the plate. This pitching staff believes in him and understands the hard work that he puts in.
It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I know that the Reds had very high hopes that Mesoraco would be back this year. Of course, they signed him to a long-term deal, which guaranteed him close to $30 million. So, you know, there's got to be room for him somewhere. Hopefully he'll be able to come back and be behind the plate, because the guy can be a force in the lineup when he's healthy.
Tucker, born in Indianapolis, grew up in Indiana. Of course, his high school coach, Jeff McEwen, said it from the beginning. When he showed up as a freshman, it was like he was a postgraduate senior. He always had a presence about him, and he's shown the same to the Reds. There's Brandon Belt. Fly to left first time up. 3-1. That's a strike. Ball four, first walk allowed by the Reds right-hander Dan Straily. 1 out, 1 on, and here comes Gillespie, who homered his last time up. Don't forget, you can cheer on your Reds when they take on the Dodgers August the 19th through the 22nd. Thanks to Reach Magazine, you can catch all the action and save with the 4 for $48 ticket offer. Get 4 view-level tickets and 4 Reds hats for only $48. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com/4 for $48. 1 out, 1 on. Gillespie to the plate with Grant Green on deck. Reds in the stretch of 15 of 18 on the road. Reds here in San Francisco, then head after the San Francisco stop to San Diego Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then the Cardinals will come to town next week for 3, but then the Reds are back on the road to Pittsburgh, St. Louis, and then Milwaukee. So you look at this stretch, other than the Padres, and the Padres are playing better. It's a tough road to hoe. 15 of 18. Those 15 are pretty tough.
Well, 2 different types of games have really given the Reds problems this year. Number one, on the road. They've lost twice as many on the road than they've won. They're 15 and 33. The other type of games that give them problems is when they play teams over 500. So they're going to break with the Padres after winning series against the Diamondbacks, the Braves, and the Brewers, all sub-500 teams. You know, they've got a chance here to win this series against the Giants, the leaders in the West, go down and take care of business in San Diego, and then back to home and back to business in the division.
Gillespie had an awkward swing at that ball. Looked like he might have tweaked something in his shoulder. He stepped out and moved that shoulder around. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Easy swing to right. Bruce is there. Runner goes halfway. Jay's got it, 2 away. And here comes Grant Green, who flied to right his first time up.
Well, if Dan Straily had the desire today to go deeper into the ball game by being more efficient with his pitches, boy, has he ever done that. Look at this number here, 55 pitches so far in this ball game. Here he is just about all the way through the 5th inning. You can't get a whole lot more efficient than what Straily has been this afternoon.
Now, he told Jim Day before the game, loves pitching in this park, loves pitching in day games, and he's following his script pretty good. Saw Bill Hayes, the veteran minor league manager and veteran coach here in San Francisco, the first base coach for the Giants. And over at third, former Red Roberto Kelly, Bobby Kelly, taken over at third for the last 2 years. Kelly had a couple of great years with the Reds offensively. 93, was an all-star with the Reds.
Well, it all came to an end after he hit a foul ball that hit Marty Brenneman in the back, knocked him out of his chair in the broadcast booth back at Old Shea Stadium, and he was traded the next day. Don't mess with the Hall of Famer.
That's right. Pleasant guy to be around, isn't he?
Reds picked up Deion Sanders in that deal.
Popped up right side behind the plate. Barnhart has room this time, and a step in front of the net will haul it in. A walk, no harm. Reds go back to work. Top of the order, Hamilton due up. We're tied at 1.
Cincinnati, and he loves to come to the big cities. From Mississippi, grew up in rural Mississippi. In fact, he didn't leave the state of Mississippi until he was drafted into pro baseball, and big cities still fascinate him because growing up he didn't have anything metropolitan, as he says. In fact, He even said, taxi cabs and parking meters are still fresh to me. So when he comes to a big city like San Francisco, he likes to go out and explore the city. He does not spend much time in his hotel room, and you can often see him just walking around, taking it all in.
I think we were all ADHD when we were growing up, right, JD? And I mean, he's nonstop, perpetual motion. I mean, you call him the man with the happy feet who's got great speed, 34 stolen bases already this year, but he's perpetual motion. Whether he's in the ballpark or around town, that's part of his makeup, isn't it?
It really is, and he's always got a smile on his face. I can't tell you the amount of stadium workers on the road that say to me, you know what, he's a really nice guy. He's just talking to me like I'm a normal person. And they say it a lot.
No balls, 2 strikes to Billy, who's 0 for 2 so far today, and he waves at that. Hamilton's numbers have continued to rise remarkably during the course of the last month, and especially in the month of July. And when you look at it, Chris, you know, you don't, if you're a coach in the minor leagues, you never get any pub. If you're an assistant hitting coach, you never get any pub. But it started in spring training and started in the off season when Tony Jaramillo was really put on the case of Billy Hamilton to try to get him mentally and emotionally back where he was in Pensacola. And give Tony Jaramillo a lot of credit. He has helped Billy mature as a hitter this year remarkably rapidly, considering the time that he spent with him.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's a lot of people that have their fingers in that particular recipe, George. Number one is just time itself and experience at the major league level, because you've got to come up here, get your bumps and bruises, and then adjust and learn. And Hamilton's got plenty of talent. The other one, I think, is that the years he spent with Delano DeShields in the offseason, and this last year with Billy Hatcher. Every day down at the ballpark in the offseason working on a lot of stuff. And you can go a long way and not find anybody who's a bigger Billy Hamilton supporter than Hatcher. Throughout all the slumps and bad games that Hamilton had early in the year, Hatcher was one steadfast rock saying, hey, don't worry about it. He's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. And he is fine.
2 balls, 1 strike to Cozart, who's 0 for 2. And the bottom line is, it's been a lot of people that have devoted a lot of time and a lot of effort to help Billy reach his potential at this level. Not an easy road. Lined into center field. That'll drop as a hit. So Cozart will stretch his hitting streak, and the Reds have 1 out, 1 on here in the 6th. And that'll bring up Votto. Joey singled in the infield variety to second in the 4th inning. That stretched his hitting streak to 12 straight. You don't get many chances against this lefty, so we'll see what Brian Price does with Votto. They don't like to put runners in motion ahead of Joey unless you're Billy Hamilton, of course. But you're not going to get many opportunities. The one opportunity the Red had last inning was fueled by an error by Pagan in left. This one dribbled down the left side. They'll get 1 at second. On to first. They'll turn 2. So the base runner erased. Even with the hit, the Reds go 1, 2, 3. Bumgarner due up. We get a complete recap of Junior's Hall of Fame speech from this past weekend. Some great moments and some tears too. Billy Hamilton has become that disruptive force we've been talking about since the All-Star break. We'll chronicle that. Plus, Zach Cozart recently given an award that's very special to him. Join Jeff Piccaro, Jim Day for Reds Weekly following tonight's post-game show. Big swing by Bumgarner, and he watches it himself.
Well, he nearly did the impossible right there, which is hit a ball very hard and hit it behind him.
It's amazing.
I mean, that ball
took a left turn.
Nobody up there thought they were going to get a foul ball off the bat of a right-hander. Straley's not messing around with him, though. I mean, you don't see Straily just pumping fastballs in there like you often see pitcher on pitcher.
As Matt Cain proved yesterday with a 3-run homer. 0-2. High in the air, left center field. Hamilton and Duvall over. Duvall calling, got it. And Bumgarner retired. 0 for 2, a strikeout and the fly ball out. Now, we've talked about it. Jim Day will list this as his favorite ballpark in all of baseball. And Chris, you got this on your top 10 list too. Is it number 1?
It's right there. You know, it's hard to pick one ballpark over another, George, but on a day game in San Francisco, I'm not sure it gets a whole lot better than this. You can pretty much depend on the weather being pleasant. Never too cold, never too hot.
What was the worst day you remember from Candlestick as a player?
Oh, just windy and, probably when I got, beat up and didn't get out of there. I remember pitching a game there as a Montreal Expo where I was 3 for 3 at the plate, but had never made it through the 5th inning. That was a bad day.
Loop to left. Here comes Duvall, and he got it. He held on. Adam Duvall, outstanding effort on a slicing, blooping fly ball off the bat of Gregor Blanco, 2 away.
You know, it's plays like this in a 1-1 ball game that if you don't make it, you really never know what's going to happen. It could be the difference in a game. Doesn't look like much right there except a good effort. But that's the kind of play that when you're in a low-scoring game, getting towards the end of this game, making it could mean all the difference in the world.
Here's Pagan, who struck out and grounded out 0 for 2.
And made the error that led to the Reds' run.
You had some moments in the bullpen at Candlestick that everybody that was out there that will last with you for a lifetime, huh? It was cold, plus the fans were something else out there.
Just a different breed of fan out there. They were tough. I mean, it was so cold. And when some guy would stroll down the steps, take his shirt off, and challenge the whole bullpen to a fight, it was time to go to the dugout.
No balls, 2 strikes to Pagan. This one lined into right, a base hit. So Pagan is on a 2-out base hit. For the Giants, a home run by Connor Gillespie to lead off the 3rd. A walk to Belt in the 5th. This is the 3rd base runner that the Giants have had. And it's a base hit with 2 outs here in the 6th. Here's Williamson, who struck out and grounded out 0 for 2. Really, what I remember at Candlestick, too, they had the guy during night games especially that sat out in center field who had the bubble machine. And if you were a center fielder, that wind would be swirling and he'd be blowing bubbles to the opposition, not when Mays or anybody else was playing center field. But you'd look up and there'd be a fly ball and there'd be a dozen bubbles flying around, too. You couldn't see which is the bubble and which is the ball. Fastball up, swing and a miss, and it's 1 strike to Williamson. If you do come to AT&T Park as a fan, just a suggestion, before the game, go up to the top deck, go all the way down the right field line and just sit on the top deck, and you'll get a view of the Bay Area, downtown. Just a spectacular spot. And then you got the ball game, too.
I saw a sleeping bag up there this morning, George. You didn't spend the night there last night, did you?
We could have, huh? We made it back pretty fast walking back to the. That's a good workout, too. You and Beth have not missed a beat on this trip, though.
We've
a lot of action.
Yes, we have.
And more to come in San Diego.
Better believe it.
Hit hard. Tough hop. Nice play by Suarez. A bullet that Eugenio got a tricky hop and turned it into a 4. So base hit, nothing to show for it. Here comes Bruce when we return. Today, Madison Bumgarner has been great. 6 strikeouts through 6 innings of work against the Reds. Dan Straily struck out 4 and allowed only 2 hits. Big swings in the game. Gillespie's 4th home run of the year gave the Giants a 1-run lead. It was challenged by the Reds, but the challenge did not come to fruition, and the home run was allowed. Then a Barnhart sacrifice fly with Brandon Phillips, who had singled to stretch his hitting streak to 15, tied this one up. Here's Jay Bruce, hits a big bomb to right, going back, looking up. That's gone. How about this? He joins Rarefied Air Company. The Beaumont Bomber continues a red-hot post-All-Star streak. He's now homered in 5 straight games. He ties the Reds team lead with 25 home runs. Now 79 knocked in, and the Reds have taken the lead. There is hot, and there is Jay Bruce hot, Chris.
Boy, you're not kidding about that, George. I mean, you talk about just seeing it big. Make one mistake, Bruce puts a good level swing on it. And, of course, the power to get out of here, no problem at all. I mean, I'm wondering if with every home run swing that he makes, whether the asking price the Reds may be negotiating for in any deal that would include Jay Bruce might just ratchet up a little bit.
Now, there are some outfielders available. For Bruce, he continues a red-hot string, homered in 5 straight, 6 home runs during that period.
Well, there's nobody as hot as Bruce, number one. And the other thing that makes Bruce attractive is the fact that the team has an option for him for next year. And it's a reasonable one if he continues the kind of pace he's on right now. 5 straight games, home runs, that's a pretty good list.
That includes guys like Kluszewski, Bench, Griffey, and Devin Mesoraco was on that list too. Well, the Reds have taken the lead. This one towards left center field. It will be caught by Pagan. Nice job by Pagan. A leaping catch. Duvall thought it hit the turf. In fact, he's looking in to Brian Price, and Price has held up his hand to the home plate umpire, Kerwin Danley. Take another look. It hit turf.
Boy.
Looked like it hit turf. Duvall right away popped up from his slide and looked at the bench, and it will be challenged by the Reds. Well, Bruce Bochy won 2 challenges yesterday. The Reds have lost their first challenge today, and it's been a path that Joe West has beaten from his umpiring spots the last 3 days to the replay headsets, and he's going to do it again. Long run from Pagan, and a great effort. Whether he makes the catch or not, a great effort. If it gets by him, it's at least a triple. Another look, and again, we have all the replays that you'll see here, but they've got even more back in New York. Take another look. And it looks like it hits turf right there, or is the glove under it? Under. Better look here as we slow it up. This is probably the definitive look. That's turf. That's a 2-base hit. So the Reds have taken the lead on the leadoff homer by Bruce, and Duvall has given them a chance to add something here if this is confirmed as a 2-base hit. It's taking a little longer than you would suspect, Chris.
Well, you know, I've stopped looking at the replays, and I've stopped predicting whether they're going to be overturned or anything else, or even predict the amount of time. Although I can tell you that it seems like they're rendering decisions a little quicker nowadays, which is a good thing.
Yeah, of the 4 in this series, 3 of them have been under a minute and a half. This one may be the longest of the series. Pagan at one time was a Gold Glove caliber center fielder, but hamstring and back injuries have robbed him of some of his speed and some of his defensive abilities. Safe double, and the Reds have a runner sitting at second. They get it right. Now wait a minute, they're sending him back to first.
Yeah, that's a situation. It's kind of in the small print in that rule, is that umpires would place the runner where they think he would have been had the call not been made the way it was. So they feel like on that play, since Pagan, even if he trapped the ball, would have come up, been able to get the ball back into the infield before the hitter runner Duvall was able to get into second.
So Duvall's on, still nobody out, and here's Phillips. Branded single last time up, went to third on the error by Pagan and scored on the sacrifice fly by Barnhart. Bumgarner from the stretch to Phillips. Two runs, 5 hits for the Reds. A run and only 2 hits for the Giants. Phillips peering down at Billy Hatcher, who rolls through some signs, and he steps back into the box. Right field, Williamson there, almost in his tracks, has it. First out of the inning, and here comes Suarez. Suarez popped out to the second baseman first time up, and then hit a fly ball to left center field that glanced off the glove of Pagan for a two-base error. He hit it pretty well. What a play that should have been made. Suarez already has a homer in this series against Jake Peavy. That was in game number 1. Now 17 on the year. Well, part of the problems the Giants have had in the postseason. Now 8 home runs for the Reds that they've hit in this series. Most home runs in a 3-game series at AT&T Park by a visiting team. Coming into today, the Giants had given up 24 home runs since the All-Star break. That's most in all of baseball. And prior to the All-Star break, they were the 3rd best team at not giving up home runs. So it's been a combination of shoddy defense for the Giants, home run baseball for the opposition. Jay Bruce has been a one-man wrecking crew. 5 straight games he's homered in. Swing and a miss. Does Posey hang on? He does. We told you about Bumgarner's record, 5-2 at home this year with a 1.64 earned run average. But Chris, even more impressive when you realize it's been a long time since he's lost here.
Well, I mean, like we said earlier, the last time he gave up a run here, the Giants had a 7-game lead. Now have a 2.5-game lead. The guy's just simply nails here at home, even better during the day. And Dan Straily is pitching himself a heck of a good ball game to be winning at this point.
Two away for Barnhart, who lifted a sacrifice fly to right to tie the game at 1 in the 5th. Straily on deck. Miss it wide, and it's 1-1. He's got movement on everything he throws, doesn't he?
Well, and it keeps it simple too. 89 miles an hour, that's a cutter. 92 is his fastball, so there's not much difference in speed but movement. But then he's got that big sweeping curveball. And that's really about it. He does not throw many changeups.
Dribble down to second. Green has it. That'll take care of Barnhart. So the Reds take the lead thanks to Jay Bruce's 25th home run. Now in 5 straight, Bruce has been the Beaumont Bomber. San Francisco, every time we come to town, we get to visit with so many special people, of course, and always great to visit with the Reds Hall of Famer Jim Maloney. Pitched with the Reds for 11 seasons from 60 to 70. Over 1,500 career strikeouts, won 15 games in 6 straight years. Part of 3 no-hitters. And Jim, great to see you and Lynn. You both look great. You look tremendous.
Well, thanks, George. It's always great to come up here with you and Chris. And anytime we can get out of 109 heat in Fresno, we'll come to San Francisco. So
you made great of you to make the trek over. What a beautiful day for a ball game, huh?
It's great. This is really great for San Francisco.
Hey, you you love pitching. Here's Posey, first pitch swinging at Straily's delivery. They're trying to find a ball, and finally Barnhart does, and he's got it. Tucker Barnhart retires Posey one away. Straily's look great, huh?
Terrific. He right off the bat when we got here, he was making him really have some bad swings on his breaking balls, curve and slider, getting the right position and everything, and then his fastball's jumping up in there. He's pitching a great ball game.
And here he is in the 8th inning. He only has 70 pitches.
I never knew how that was. I had 70 pitches in about the 4th inning.
What did you have? 187 pitches in the 1-0.
Yeah, in Chicago.
No hitter.
No hitter. Yeah, that was
187 pitches.
Yeah. That was one of those games where I don't know. I pitched the no hitter, 10 innings, and I think I struck out 11, 12 guys, and I walked 10 and hit 2.
And there's nothing wrong about that, is there? You got to pitch inside. Not many people do today.
No, absolutely. Pitchers got to make a living. You know, they have a family to feed and everything, and if you don't pitch inside, that's the way I basically pitched once I got started, and I knew that I could win at this level. I'd rather pitch down and away, and I'd show them a ball inside, fastball inside, get them off the plate. So in their mind, they think that maybe I am kind of trying to come in there. But I always liked to, I didn't like to pitch strike inside because I didn't have that cutter. If they had the cutter, like, that ball doesn't come back. My fastball would come back over the plate on a left-hand hitter, and he'd put the good wood to it, see?
Here's Brandon Belt with 2 away. Belt flied out and walked. You watch Brandon Belt evolve over the last couple of years. You come to town here, watch some games during the course of the year. He's come a long way, hasn't he?
Absolutely. He's a great ball player, good ball player. I think they've signed him up to a long-term deal, and he's worth it. He's worth it. He plays in a little left field, too. He'll get out there in the outfield.
No balls, 2 strikes. Straily ahead once again with 2 outs here in the 7th. That's wide.
What do you think of when you think of the San Francisco Giants as it relates to your career?
Well, it's what it is today. When I was against the Giants had a good ball club in the 60s. Pretty much all the 10 years that I pitched against them. You had guys like Willie McCovey, who's down the road here, down next door here, and Orlando Cepeda and Willie Mays and Jim Davenport, and they had a ball club, but they didn't have much speed, so they tried to go for the big inning all the time, the home runs, and I had decent success with them, and but they were a good ball club in the 60s.
You made a mistake to them back then. They made you pay, huh?
Absolutely. Well, they'd make a mistake today, and then they'd make you pay.
3-2 delivery to Belt, fouled off with 2 away.
Looking up some numbers, Jim, and we may have to get through this next inning if Straley's able to finally polish the hitter off. But, I mean, you were able to take care of Willie Mays. He only batted 172 off of you. But it was Willie McCovey that had 5 home runs. You remember any of those home runs?
Oh, yeah. you really know how to hurt a guy.
What else could you ask for, right? We'll be back with more. And you thought he was your friend.
Oh, boy, I'll tell you. Anyway, he likes to get a knife and just twist it.
Brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. Jeff Pecoro. Brian Giesenslaw fill you in on everything, a complete recap and interviews from the clubhouse. Great to have you with us. We continue to visit with Reds Hall of Famer Jim Maloney. One of a host of great players came out of Fresno, Jim, and you have a great legacy in Fresno with some great position players as well as pitchers.
Right. It's the San Joaquin Valley has been for many years sort of a hotbed for good ball players. The weather's good all year round, so they start them young and they bring them up. But in my era there, we had Dick Ellsworth, who was on our high school team. We graduated together. And Pat Corrales, who's still in baseball, 50-some years, was our catcher. And, of course, Tom Seaver was 5 years later at Fresno High School, where we went to school. Dick Selma, Wade Blassingame. I mean, you just go right down the list. It was for a lot of ball players that came up.
The Blazer.
The Blazer, that's right. Left-hander.
Now, when we last left you, Chris was throwing Jim under the bus.
That's not an easy thing to do, but you were about to tell a story about Willie Mays, and I mentioned how you really handled Willie Mays, Hall of Famer. He only batted 172 off you. And tell us that Willie Mays interaction.
Well, when I first came up to the big leagues, I got invited to a golf tournament down in La Costa, down in northern part of San Diego. And when I pitched, I wore contact lenses. So when I didn't pitch, I wore glasses. So I walked on the thing, and they had Willie Mays. We were going to do some promotional shots for the book that they were going to hand out. And he looked at me and he said, I didn't know you wear glasses. I says, well, I got to wear glasses, man. He said, I can't even see 2 feet from when I get out the mound. And his eyes got about that big. So after that, I mean, I had a pretty good success with him, you know.
Drysdale used to brush him back. You just had to tell him you didn't wear glasses.
Well, Drysdale used to pitch a little inside quite a bit also.
Here's Billy Hamilton 0 for 3. I know you watch a lot of Reds baseball games when you and Lynn sit home on the couch. Boy, it's been great to watch Billy Hamilton of late, isn't it?
Yeah, it's he's really improved, and he's going to be a good asset to the Reds because when he gets on that first base, that just puts the defense out there, and they are on their toes, and they don't know what's going to happen, really. He makes it exciting.
2-1 down to third. The third baseman Gillespie has it, and there's 2 away.
Speed's the greatest asset in any sport.
How much did Maury Wills mean to the Dodgers during that era?
Well, you know, he was another guy. He was a littler guy than Billy Hamilton, and he didn't have any power, but he learned to hit the ball on the ground. He was a little switch hitter. Once he hit the ball on the ground, he took off, and we got on first. He's going to steal second. He's going to steal third. Then they get a fly ball or ground ball, and that's the way the Dodgers scored in those days. And the secret is the toughest base to steal is first base, and that's the idea. Those kind of guys, keep them off the first base area, keep them out, you know, get them out.
Here's Cozart, 1 for 3, singled his last time up. What a beautiful setting for baseball. Day baseball here is something else, isn't it?
Yeah, it's. They got that Bay Bridge over there. We came over this morning and looked at the city, and it's a beautiful, beautiful area. You know, it's wonderful. You know, these and the fans, I don't know how many games they've sold out here. It's just one after another.
756 and counting.
Yeah, boy.
Now, Jim, you're going to be on the Reds cruise again this year. You're going to have to put up with me this year as they take off and take that western leg of the Caribbean.
Right.
I know you look forward to that every year.
Yeah, Lynn and I we've been invited for several years, and along with Jack Billingham and Marty Brenneman and his wife Amanda, Marty's been doing it for like 30-some years. He started with the cruise when they started, and we have a great time. A lot of Reds fans come, and we have a couple of little get-togethers and question-answer period, sign a few autographs, and you know, have some time on a cruise. It's wonderful.
Nuxie's still with you in spirit on that cruise, isn't he? He used to enjoy that cruise.
Absolutely. Nuxie, my old roommate, he's still in there. You know, remember, had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun together.
1 ball, 2 strikes to the Reds' number 2 hitter, Zach Cozart. You were blessed with some great infield play behind you. Boy, Cozart's been solid coming back from his knee injury this year again.
Yeah, we had Cincinnati's always been blessed with great shortstops. When I played, Leo Cardenas, he was as good as anybody in the game. Then Davey Concepcion came for 18 years or so. And then
Barry Larkin.
Yeah, Barry. And I remember.
We'll be back. More to talk about. Cozart strikes out. Bumgarner's, as usual, striking folks out. But so far, the Reds holding on to a lead thanks to the Jay Bruce homer. We'll be back after this. Sunday, August the 21st. Thanks to Klosterman Bakery, you can get half-price Reds tickets. Enjoy live mascot races, face painters, games, and a whole lot more. Plus, kids 14 and younger will get a Billy Hamilton Fathead thanks to PNC Bank. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit Reds.com. We continue to visit with Reds Hall of Famer Jim Maloney, who lives out here in the Fresno area and gets to see still a lot of baseball. Jim, I know you have always been very thankful to Bob Castellini for bringing all you guys back on a regular basis, and it's great to see everybody together. This year has been a special year with Pete getting into the Reds Hall of Fame and the celebration of the '76 team.
Right. It was really a nice gala event at the Hall of Fame. The Cincinnati Hall of Fame put on. Rick Walls and his crew was really first class. And you know, I can't say enough about the Castellini family. They've done a great job with the alumni. They've done a great job with the whole town of Cincinnati and the community. Wonderful family. And you know, it bothers me that, you know, we just need to get over the hump and get up there in the first slot. And trying to rebuild now a little bit, and it's going to take a little time probably.
No balls, 2 strikes to Connor Gillespie. He homered back in the 3rd. That's the lone run that Straily has allowed on this day. Reds overshift to the right side against him. Nub foul to the left side.
Hey, Jim, let's go back to some of those games you had with the Giants. I'm always fascinated when 2 great pitchers get they're going after each other. You faced off with Juan Marichal a couple of times, and I know that you had thrown in your career 3 2-hit shutouts against the San Francisco Giants. What was it like facing Marichal?
Well, number one, Chris, you make sure you don't give up more than 2 runs. If you do that, you might, it's like Koufax, the same kind of pitcher. I mean, that Marichal was, you know, I don't know how many complete games he had, but he just, I think one night he and Warren Spahn tied up, and Spahn was like 43 or 44 at Candlestick Park. They pitched 16 innings.
Yep. Mays hit the home run to win it.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's, you know, that's, you do something, you almost pitch like 2 games.
Center field hit pretty good. Back is Hamilton. He's at the warning track and he'll haul it in. Gillespie came close to his 2nd of the day. 1 away here in the 8th.
Now there was one in particular that happened in 1965. I don't know if you remember it or not. It was the shutout that you lost to Marichal 1-0, and the run came on a sacrifice fly. You know, in that lineup though, you know, you had Mays and you had McCovey. What was it like facing Big Willie McCovey?
Well, you as you said a while ago, McCovey hit 5 home runs off me, and I always say he was the toughest hitter basically I had for get out, because he had power. And I had a thing that happened at Candlestick. They had AstroTurf. McCovey came up and threw him a low fastball, and he hit, all it was a blur, hit on the front of the AstroTurf right in front of me. I lifted my leg up and hit me in the inside of my leg, just right in the crotch area, and my leg got numb. I went down like a wounded buffalo, and they carried me in the clubhouse. And the trainer, you know, they had to cut my pants off, you know, to look at it. And I kept saying, "What's it look like, Doc?" And you know, Al Wilder, our trainer, he sort of had a little dry humor. "Oh my goodness!" I said, "What's wrong?" He says, "What's wrong?" He says, "Whoa!" I said, "Look at this." He says, "It says Warren Giles, league president, Spalding."
Here's Denard Span pinch hitting for Green here in the 8th inning. I didn't realize that the Giants lost a great, Jim Ray Hart passed away earlier this year. Yeah. Another great hitter that they had in that lineup. Leon Wagner.
You know, Lynn and I are fortunate that we can get around, and at our age, you know, you just one day at a time, and we're real fortunate. You know, I come up here and we'd be able to see a ball game or go on a cruise. Herb Reisenfeld and the crew at Provident there, and you know, just do things at our age, and we're going to do it until we can't do it.
2-1 delivery to right. Bruce has it. You know, speaking of hitters, how about Jay Bruce and the streak that he's on?
Great. He's I'm glad. You know, I don't know what they're going to plan to do with him, but he's opening some eyes. I mean, he's having a great year, and he's a wholly entirely different hitter than he was last year and the year before. But you know, it's like ball players. If you're hurt, and they don't like to say you're hurt, it's a hard thing to play and operate at 100% in this league at this level. You just can't do it. Your average is going to suffer, or your ERA, or whatever it is.
It's a 2-1 ball game. For most other pitchers, they'd be out of the game. Not with Madison Bumgarner. Is he one of the best hitting pitchers you've ever seen?
Yeah, he's got a lot of power. You got to watch. He can hurt you. He's got He swings hard on every pitch, and
there's a bullet in the left, a base hit from the Giants pitcher Madison Bumgarner.
Yeah, he hit that one on the line. If he would have got under that, it might have gone over that Coke bottle out there.
You know, usually when a pitcher is batting in there late in the ball game in the 8th inning, it's because he's throwing a heck of a game, and he is, but there's not very many pitchers in this league that you're going to allow to bat in the 8th inning down a run. Bruce Bochy always figured there's a chance that he may just leave the yard, tie this baby up.
He Bochy pinch hits him, you know, when they get certain areas, they've used a few of their pinch hitters, and they'll put Bumgarner up there to pinch hit.
Raisel Iglesias loosening in the bullpen. Brian Price has made his move to the bullpen. That'll be it for Straily.
Good job.
As Iglesias comes in. And Jim, always great to see you. Thanks for stopping by, and thanks for all you've done for the Reds over all these years.
Hey, my pleasure. I get a kick out of it. You bet. Thanks.
Great to see you.
Time
for our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. Only 3 hits and a run off him. Bumgarner gets a base hit. Changes in the game. Straily out. 7 2/3, 3 hits and 5 strikeouts. In is Raisel Iglesias, who's just been brilliant out of the bullpen, Chris, and he takes over facing the leadoff hitter, Gregor Blanco. There's a bouncer down to second. Phillips wheels, fires, and they get him by a half a step. And now Blanco waves his hands, pointing to his manager, Bruce Bochy, saying challenge, challenge, challenge. Bochy looks to his bench coach, Ron Wotus, and we'll see if the Giants will challenge. Another look.
Well, a sure-handed play by Phillips. Did he get him in time, though? Boy, that's very close, and they're not going to challenge, and they're going to stay with the ruling of out.
So no challenge, and the Reds will hang on to the lead. And by the way, they pinch ran for Bumgarner, so he's out of the ball game. Back after this. Every game coming up, it'll be Reds Live on Fox Sports Ohio, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing, before every single Reds game. Brian Price congratulating Dan Straily. 7 2/3, 3 hit, 1 run, 5 strikeout baseball. Chris, 90 pitches, 65 strikes from Straily.
Really outstanding job by Dan Straily when he's able to just add and subtract fastball, breaking ball, move the ball around the zone. I mean, he can beat anybody. He doesn't have to throw 95 miles an hour. So Straily knows what he does best, and he did it today.
Here's Joey Votto, 1 for 12 in his career against this Giant lefty. Javier Lopez in for the 3rd time in this series, and in each time specifically to face Votto.
Yeah, it really couldn't work out any better for Bochy at this point. When you have Votto and then Bruce back to back, you bring in the sidewinder to see if he can keep him off the base.
Joey bounces this one back through the middle, so for Votto, he finally gets him in this series. He had been retired twice by Lopez. He's now 2 for 13 against him.
I tell you, Votto's knack for hitting left-handed pitching is really remarkable. And the formula is easy. The execution is very difficult. He hits the ball very late, looking for breaking ball, and tries to hit it up the middle. That's where he's gotten both of his hits today.
Same story for Bruce. He's 2 for 16 against Lopez. Jay in this game, the difference right now in the 7th, a leadoff homer to make it 2-1. His 25th homer of the season. Our Volkswagen drive of the game came in the 7th. It came off Madison Bumgarner. He drilled this one. And the Reds had a 2-1 lead, and that's what they enjoy right now. Off the top row of the fans stands, and then off the railing, or else it would have been into the cove.
Oh, boy, he had a pitch and a cut there.
The home run by Bruce, his 25th. That ties Duvall for the team lead. Also, for the first time in his career, he's homered in 5 straight ball games. 6 home runs during that period. Lopez to the stretch. Votto short lead off first. Got him with the breaking ball down and away. So Bruce is retired, 1 for 4. Strikeout number 1 for Lopez. By the way, Bumgarner left with 9 strikeouts, 8 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 1 of them earned, the 9 strikeouts and no walks. Out comes Bochy. Lopez has done his job to take care of Votto and Bruce, and with Duvall coming up, he'll go back to the bullpen, and while the pitching change takes place, We'll take time out for these messages. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. On Fox Sports Ohio has been brought to you by Kroger. Stop by your neighborhood Kroger to save big store-wide. Great food, low prices all at Kroger. And by Toyota. For over 30 offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. Great place to go if you're going places. The Bay Area of San Francisco, whether it be the Bridge, Alcatraz, downtown Union Square, or here AT&T Park. Here Strickland will come in to face Duvall. It's the same blueprint that Bruce Bochy used in Game 1. Lopez got both Votto and Bruce, and then Strickland came in to face Duvall. He got ahead 0-2, but then walked Adam Duvall. So Duvall trying to keep the inning alive for the Reds with one away. One out, one on for Cincinnati. Giants took the lead in the third. A leadoff homer by Connor Gillespie. 1-0 San Francisco off Dan Straily. Reds tied it on a sacrifice fly by Barnhart in the fifth. Took the lead on the Bruce homer in the seventh. Hit hard, but into the Giant dugout down the left side. That scattered him. Big burly right-hander, heavy fastball, workhorse out of the bullpen. This is a Giants bullpen that is often used. They've got an extra guy in the bullpen and one fewer position player. That's the way Bochy's dealt with this stretch for the Giants. Swing and a miss. And it's 1-2. Big against right-handed pitching, and the other side of that story is that Strickland has held right-handed batters to only a .213 average on the season. And he duplicates that effort with that strikeout. So back-to-back strikeouts, one by Lopez, the other by Strickland. There's two away, and here comes Brandon Phillips. Phillips entered the game with his 14-game hitting streak, longest current streak in baseball. He extended that to 15 with a base hit to center in the fifth. He went to third on a two-base error by Pagan on the fly ball by Suarez, and then he scampered home on the sacrifice fly by Barnhart. That tied the game at 1 in the fifth inning. Phillips 1 for 2 in his matchups with Strickland. Reds will head south after today's game. Off day in San Diego tomorrow. Then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Reds against the Padres. Their second West Coast trip of the season. And if you joined us late, we'll be happy to welcome back Tom Brenneman to our broadcast this weekend. Friday, it'll be Brandon Finnegan against Edwin Jackson. That's a radio-only game. On Saturday, Anthony DeSclafani will go for his 7th win against Christian Friedrich. And Sunday, Chris, it's TBA for the Reds, and we expect the big right-hander to make his first start.
Well, you'd be talking about Homer Bailey right there. Nothing's confirmed yet, so nothing official. It would be Cody Reed's day to pitch if the Reds want to stay in their regular rotation.
Homer Bailey, after his rehab appearance at Louisville, joined the club yesterday here in San Francisco, so he's with the team.
But there's no rule that says he has to pitch right away. So if they feel like he could use an extra day or two, maybe work on something in the bullpen, you know, he can always do that. Meanwhile, the Reds will have to make a roster move, I guess, when they activate him.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Phillips with 2 away. Did he hold? No, he didn't. So 3 strikeouts in the inning. We're heading to the bottom of 9. Tony Cingrani will try to pick up save number 12 coming up next. The newly renovated Staples Party Suites. Book 1 suite or combine all 3 for up to 99 guests. Enjoy the indoor comforts of the suite along with the outdoor patio furniture. for the full ballpark experience. Learn more by calling 513-765-7600 or by visiting reds.com/groups. Well, we go to the bottom of 9. Tony Cingrani picked up save number 11 in game 1 of this series, and he'll try to pick up another here. 2 runs, 6 hits for the Reds, a run, only 3 hits for the Giants. Cingrani will face Pagan, Williamson, and Posey, 2, 3, and 4 in the order, Chris.
Well, a couple of right-handers to start, too, and guys that can conceivably go deep in Pagan and Williamson, and, of course, and then Posey. So, you know, the options for Brian Price would be leave Raisel Iglesias in the game to get the first 2 right-handers out, or maybe 3, and then use Cingrani if you want when Crawford, the left-hander, comes up. Cingrani 11 for 16 in save opportunities.
Pagan 1 for 3 today, singled his last time up, and in his career he's 1 for 3 against Tony Cingrani. Williamson to follow, then Posey. Another sellout crowd here, and there's strike 2. The attendance for today, 42,079. That's now 457 consecutive sellouts for the Giants. Second only to the Red Sox all-time streak. No balls, 2 strikes to Pagan. Reds play him straight away, infield and outfield. That drifts away for a ball. The 2 starters, Dan Straily, brilliant, 7 2/3, 3 hits and a run. Madison Bumgarner, 8 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, only 1 of them earned. The home run by Jay Bruce in the 7th, the difference right now. That's wide, 2 and 2. Jay Bruce looking at Billy Hatcher, positioning him against Pagan in right field. That's lined into left. Tying run on here in the 9th. Now, Pagan has stolen 9 bases. Earlier in his career, he'd be almost a sure bet to be on the move. With the hamstring troubles he's had, the running has become less frequent.
Well, Pagan gets a fastball up after Tony Cingrani jumps ahead 0-2. He finally evens the count 2-2 and levels on a fastball. I don't think that the stolen base is really in the future for the Giants here. Pagan's leg injury, yes, but that also is a less factor than Tony Cingrani's exceptional move to first base. He's already picked off 4 runners, and I'm sure Billy Hayes is telling Pagan down there, stay right here.
Well, Pagan, moderate lead off first. He usually takes an aggressive lead.
In fact, Cingrani is not allowed a stolen base yet this year. They've caught 4. Pitcher caught stealing 3 and pick off 4. That's Johnny Cueto territory.
Here's Williamson, struck out, bounced out, and bounced into a fielder's choice. Big time home run power here from the former Wake Forest star. To the stretch, Cingrani. Now the zinger has turned his season around. The Reds bullpen in totality struggled the first 2 months of the season. Everybody's gotten a little better, and they got him leaning, but he just does get the hand back in. You were a lefty, Chris. There are some lefties that throw over a lot and you have no fear of being picked. This guy has an outstanding move.
Well, I mean, he just shortens up leads, and the proof is in the numbers. I mean, he picks his leg up and Pagan is going back to first base. Cingrani's move is so good that he picks off runners that aren't even attempting to steal. That is a rarity.
Of this generation, Andy Pettit had that kind of a move with the Yankees, maybe the best of this generation. 1 ball, 1 strike. Got his fastball, but tardy on it was Williamson, and it's 1-2. And the old adage, Chris, fastballs up, breaking balls away. Against Williamson, we've seen him be susceptible to the fastball up.
Yeah, I mean, he's a big, tall guy, and those guys normally like the ball down. And this is where Cingrani should really go up the ladder right here and see if Williamson will chase.
A ball, 2 strikes. That breaking ball down, and it's 2-2. Cingrani allowed a base hit in his 9th inning appearance in game 1 of the series, and then got 3 quick outs. This one down to short. Cozart knocks it down. They'll get one on to first, not in time, but brilliant play by Zach Cozart to rob a base hit off the bat of Williamson and get the force at second. What a dandy by the Red shortstop.
The Reds, really, their calling card this year has been their defense, especially anchored by Zach Cozart. He has made one spectacular play after another this year. Not enough to get the double play, but boy, you keep this ball from going into center field. If that happens, you've got a legitimate rally on your hands.
There's out number 1, and here comes the former MVP. Cingrani appreciates that big time. Buster Posey bounced out, flied out, flied out. That almost hit him on the hand. Posey in his career against Cingrani, 1 for 9. When the left-handers try to come in on him, often he'll go the other way, and a pretty good sized hole on the right side of the infield here. Big swing there, and it's 1-1.
That's where I like the Cingrani fastball the best. I really think he's effective there on up. For some reason, hitters chase it, and very rarely do they get on top of it.
Brandon Crawford on deck. In the dirt, great block by Barnhart. Casilla up in the bullpen and loosening for the Giants if this game should be prolonged. Straily hoping that Cingrani can close it out and give Straily a W here. And on the hands, fouled off. Two balls, 2 strikes to the former MVP. Cingrani trying to earn his stripes as the Reds closer. Posey has long since earned his stripes as a leader of this Giants team with big key hits throughout his career. To the stretch is the Reds left-hander. High in the air to left, but it'll stay in the park. Under it is Hamilton. Going halfway is Williamson, and he'll retreat to first. Just missing it was Posey, and Hamilton keeps it in the ballpark, 2 away.
Posey went way upstairs to get this pitch right here and got it out on the end of the bat a little bit. He knew that right away. Some of the fans thought it had a chance to leave the park, but not even close.
So 2 away, and here comes Crawford. Yet to get a hit off Cingrani. 0 for 6 for his career. Brandon today popped out into foul territory to Suarez. Tried to bunt his way on, but Barnhart made a great play to throw him out and then popped to the shortstop. Brandon Belt on deck. Strike 1 to the Giants shortstop. Nubbed high in the air. Is there room for Barnhart behind home plate? He got it, and the Reds have taken their 4th straight series. Hanging on as Tony Cingrani delivers a big 9th inning. Gave up a leadoff hit, but the zinger comes through. The heroes on this day, Dan Straily, who pitched brilliantly. Straily 7 2/3, 3 hits and a run. Cingrani nails down his 12th save, and Chris, Jay Bruce did it again today.
Well, he had a big part of just about every one of these wins that the Reds have had to take series of their last 4 series. And for the first time in a couple of years it's happened. You've got a happy clubhouse. You come right in here in AT&T Park, where it's not an easy place to win. The Giants play well here during the day. They play well at home. The Reds have struggled winning on the West Coast. They turned that around. This is a very, very accomplished team right now to feel about themselves the way they do.